Welcome to the Root podcast, the podcast that gets to the root of natural hair care. I'm Nisha D, your host and your personal hair guru. I've spent over 20 years as a hairstylist. I've taught color and cutting around the world, and I'm a certified hair loss practitioner. If you're a woman who wants to unlock the secrets of your natural hair, you're in the right place. On this podcast, we'll dish out the best tips, tricks, and insider secrets to help you rock your natural hair with confidence. Whether you're looking for a new style, battling frizz, or curious about hair health, we've got the scoop. Thanks for joining us on To The Root. It's time to embrace your natural hair journey. Let's go. All right, guys, welcome to the Root podcast. I am your host, Nisha D. This is my guest today, Miss Rayna Roshelle.
Hi.
I am so excited to have you guys here. I just want to say, hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Hey.
So let's jump in to our topic of the day, which is alopecia postpartum. Mm-hmm. But before we get to introduce you guys to my guest here today, Miss Rayna Roshelle. She's awesome. So we have Rayna Roshelle, who was born in 1983 in Decatur, Georgia. She is a 41-year-old married mother of two amazing daughters, might I add.
Oh, thank you.
She discovered her passion for doing hair at an early age of 13 and began working in a hair salon at the age of 16 while she was in her senior year in high school. She graduated from Albany State University in 2004 with a bachelor's degree in business management. She immediately went on to pursue her career in cosmetology and graduated in 2005. She has been an independent stylist ever since. And she opened Creation Salon Studio in 2014, which is where we are today. And Rayna lives by the motto, people don't care how much you know, but they care how much you care.
Right.
So with that being said, let's give Rayna a round of applause.
Thank
Yay.
you.
I'm so glad to have you.
I'm so glad to be here, friend. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. So we're going to jump right into these questions, Rayna.
All right, let's go.
So what I do, how I interview, I typically send my interviewees a copy of topics and they choose their topics. So my first question is, what made you choose postpartum alopecia?
So when you sent me the list of topics, it stood out to me, especially after just celebrating Mother's Day. And what makes you become a mother is having a child. And one of the things that come with having a child is postpartum alopecia. So I said, well, let's just roll with this. It just seems befitting.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So in doing research, I have learned that about 90% of women deal with postpartum alopecia. Yeah. It can be very scary after just giving birth to a baby, and then now you're like, man, my hair falling out.
Right.
So what I'm supposed to do now?
Right, because you don't know where it's gonna come. Like everyone's situation is different, right? And with me doing hair over the past umpteen years, I first learned about it just from my client, just seeing what my clients went through.
Okay.
Because you know how when you have kids, nobody really tell you everything that you're gonna go through. So nobody's like, "Oh, congratulations, you're pregnant, girl. You know your hair gonna fall out, right?" Nobody's saying that. So
they don't.
Yeah.
So typically, though, now I try to prep my clients when they tell me that they're pregnant. I give them the congratulations.
Right.
However, this is something that you may experience once you deliver. And I've heard, I don't know how true this is, so do not quote me. But interesting fact, nevertheless, is that when you have a boy, because as a female, you don't possess those the hormones. So it takes a lot more out of you to be able to produce a boy versus a girl. So I hear that a lot more women that have boys lose their hair more than women do. And see, I don't know because I only have girls, right? And I've never experienced
I'm trying to think,
alopecia.
as you said that, my mind is thinking back on like my clients that might have had sons. Did I notice anything different in them versus my clients who's had daughters? I feel like every case is different, you know.
Right.
But that's an interesting thing about the hormones.
Pay attention and see. Interesting. So, have you ever experienced postpartum postpartum alopecia?
Absolutely. And actually, because I keep my side shaved, right? So when I first had Tamron, both my daughters are 15 months apart. Typically you'll notice the shedding to start after that 3 months after you give birth, right? That's what I tell my clients. And so I noticed, like, of course, my edges were starting to thin. On my clients, I noticed it would always be these two spots. However, on me, my entire side came out. And even with me wearing my hair shaved, like, you can still kind of see like a little bit of residue. Even though it grew back, it didn't fully grow back how it was before. So I've definitely experienced it, and it's still kind of there.
Now, did you experience that? Right, I was gonna say with both of them, or just with Tamron?
Oh yeah. So it finally had Tamron. She's my oldest. 15 months later, had Taylor, and it came right back out in the exact same. I lost both of my edges on both sides. Yep. The whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that's crazy. That's crazy. So the people who have babies back to back, like, you don't. It doesn't really get time to heal before it's coming out again.
Right.
That could be very detrimental.
Yeah. Nobody want to be a bald head scallywag. Ain't got no hair in the side. We don't want that. And now it's like it was just going back, and then bam, you get pregnant again, and now it's back out. Like, what?
So
yeah,
how did that make you feel?
It led to probably a little postpartum depression. But being a hairstylist, we know how to finagle it. So I just side part and heavy swoop. Wasn't no ponytails going on.
Because it was just on the one side.
It was on both sides.
Oh, yeah. But one side was, I guess, thinning more than the other.
Oh, they were both gone.
Both were equally.
They were equally gone. No. Yeah, equally gone from that 3 months. Normally, you'll start seeing it happening after that 3 months. Okay, and then I'll tell my clients, like, anywhere between that 3 month phase till they get about 7 or 8 months.
Okay.
You'll see it just start to slow down, and your hair will start to come back.
Now, when do you start to see it coming back?
Like about like that 9th, after your baby's about 9 months, anywhere from 9 months to a year. Now, I did have one client who her hair shedded for a whole year, like uncontrollably shedding. And I just told her, I'm like, hey, you got to make sure you keep your vitamins, make sure you're drinking water and all of that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I know that we as humans, we typically have about 80,000 to about 120,000 strands of hair on our head. Now, our hair goes through growth cycles. So you have your anagen phase, which is your growth phase. So your hair is growing out of the follicle at that point. Then you also have the
slowing down phase.
The slowing down phase, which is the catagen phase. And so your hair at that point is not really resting, but it's not really growing either. It's kind of a slow growth. So then you have your telogen phase where you're resting.
Yeah.
The hair is just there. It's still in the follicle, but it's just there. It's not growing.
You don't see hardly.
Right. You're not seeing any growth. And then you also have your exogen phase, where at that point it's shedding. So we may get a lot of clients in the salon who say that, I see my hair shedding a lot in the bathroom or, in the sinks or whatever.
Yeah.
Typically, we're going to shed about 50 to 100 strands of hair a day.
A day, yes.
As you're doing normal brushing, combing.
Right.
That's natural.
Yeah. Without even being pregnant.
Even being pregnant. Yeah. But once you see it start coming out in clumps, then there may be something else going on.
Right.
And you should probably seek some professional help. Try to find you a nice, I'm not going to say a natural stylist.
Or a dermatologist.
Maybe a dermatologist, because they'd be able to tell you kind of what's going on with your scalp.
Yeah. Can I interject for a second?
Yes, ma'am.
So while you were saying that, people, they might see it coming out in the bathroom or whatever, I just kind of want to make sure that, your viewers understand there's a difference in shedding and breakage too. So just keep in mind that when you're shedding, you'll actually see like long strands with the little follicle bulb. That's shedding that's coming out of your scalp. Breakage tends to be short pieces. So you want to be able to differentiate between what exactly you're having. Am I shedding or am I breaking?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And shedding is natural. Shedding is normal. Your hair is going to shed. Yeah. Now, the great thing about these growth cycles is that your hair does not go through all of these phases at one time.
Thank God.
If they did, at some point you'd be bald.
Bald head skeleton.
But thank God we don't have that problem. Right. So, but back to the postpartum alopecia. A lot of times, as you said before, they start to notice that shedding around 3 months after your baby is born.
Right.
So the reason that this happens is because your hair is going through the growth phases still as you're pregnant. However, while you're pregnant, because your estrogen levels are so high, you are experiencing that growth phase. So your hair looks amazing. You're like, oh my God, it's so full and just amazing.
And luscious.
Just vivacious hair. It's amazing because your blood levels, your hormone levels are higher. The blood is pumping to your follicles. So your hair is growing amazingly. The downside to that is that once you deliver, your hormones level drop back down to your normal levels. And so because there's such a drastic drop, it causes your hair to go into that exogen phase, which is that shedding phase, rapidly.
Yeah.
Which causes the thinning around the sides. A lot of times the thinning from postpartum alopecia is typically around the hairline.
Yeah.
You typically have, I hadn't really seen it much anywhere else other than the hairline.
Yeah. I've seen clients that shed, but the baldness, so to speak, is more so prevalent in either these two temple spots or the sides.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And so what do you suggest to your clients for regrowth during that process? Do you kind of just tell them, hey, this is something that's naturally hormonal going on with your body? You're just going to have to wait it out?
Yeah.
Which is what it is.
It is. Yeah.
Do you try to give them some type of remedy to it?
So I just basically like you said, I tell them, hey, this is natural. You're going to go through it. There's no getting around it. It's something that happens. You're not the only one. It happens to a lot of us. I always recommend that they continue to take their prenatal vitamins because your hormones and levels are trying to get back in order. It took you 9 months to create this baby. It's going to take your body 9 months to a year to get back to where you were. So just allow yourself time, allow yourself the grace. Remember to stay on your vitamins so that your body's getting the nutrients that it needs, especially if you're nursing, because that also is taking a lot out of you. It's depleting you. So you want to make sure you're putting those nutrients back in. Drink lots of water. I wouldn't worry. So I try not to tell them to purchase anything topical. Like you can do hair oils for growth, but I like to make sure that they're not clogging their pores because, some clients can become excessive.
And clogged pores does not help with hair growth.
It does not. So I feel like as long as you're nourishing your body from within, you should see, and you're going to see the results after it slows down around that, anywhere between 6 to 9 months after delivery.
That is some great advice.
Yep. It just
and
takes time.
very much it does take time.
Mm-hmm.
It does take time.
Give yourself some grace. Yeah.
So, well, Rayna,
yes.
This has been great.
Awesome.
And I'm so excited.
Yes, me too.
So, you guys, I want to thank Miss Rayna Roshelle for her advice and also her transparency on our topic of postpartum alopecia. But before you go, I want to gift you with for me, for her.
And it's red.
Let me tell y'all something. This lady right here is a member of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated.
Yes.
So I knew she would love a red bag.
I love a red bag. Yes.
So
thank you, friend. You're so sweet. What's in it? Let me. Oh, girl, because I was just looking at your shirt and I'm like, I want one. I was gonna ask you. This is so nice. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
You're so welcome. I love it. I love it. I love it. I will be wearing this black so I can wear this to work.
Yes.
Absolutely. I am so proud of you.
Nothing like a stylist with a black t-shirt.
Okay. Right, because we wear black every day. Right. Thank you, friend. I love it.
You are so welcome. So again, I just wanted to thank you all for stopping by, listening to us for the day. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. Yes, this can definitely help somebody along their process in dealing with postpartum alopecia. As well as, if you would like to be a sponsor of the show, you can reach out to me. I'll have all of my information listed below. Again, thank you guys for tuning in, and let's go out here and so that we can get to the root of the problem.
Awesome.
Let's go.